Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Well, first of all, welcome to DaBelly. For everybody at home watching, we're speaking to Phil from Small Town Titans, and we're excited to have you. There it is.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Let's talk a little bit about your latest record, The Ride. You just released your seventh single. You're moving and shaking. Talk a little bit about the album. It just came out.
Sure, absolutely. It just came out on Friday, November 13th. Yeah, it was we decided on that date because I like to call it reverse superstition. We like to make bad luck into good luck. Let's put it that way. You make your own. So, but it's been getting a lot of great reception. A lot of people have said that it's a really great album. We've gotten some really, really fantastic rave reviews, and it's very humbling to see that. We're very proud of the accomplishments that we've made this year, especially given the year that we've had. And
yes.
Yeah, it's been a great ride, no pun intended.
You're in the studio recording this just prior to COVID, if I understand correctly. Is that right?
Well, it was a mixture of the two. Honestly, we had started recording this pre-COVID, and then COVID hit, and that's what caused us to spread out the recording of this album. It would have been done way sooner if it weren't for COVID. We actually just it got finished. The last masters were delivered on September 4th, so that tells you how much turnaround time there was between finishing the audio and producing the records. It was pretty intense.
That is amazing. And I mentioned earlier, your latest single is "Let Me Breathe." It's the seventh single off this record. So it sounds like you're doing kind of a serial release of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was. And speaking of COVID, it was the reason why we decided to release 7 singles off of the record, which is a little unprecedented, is because we wanted our fans to have as much of the record as possible to give them something to listen to while we were creating the last 3 songs. And we just hope that everybody's enjoying the whole piece as it is, like the whole pie, if you will. Yeah, but that was a decision that we made, that we wanted to get as much out there as possible with a little bit left to taste, so.
Well, you're doing it right. You have videos and the whole deal. I mean, you're really reaching out and letting the fans get a good look at you. They're hearing that big sound that's coming from the 3 of you. Yeah. It's very well done, I have to say.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. We had some amazing producers on this record, which definitely helped. It helped with the sound, the sonic quality of it. It's been fantastic. We worked with multiple studios on this, so it was it was a good experience for sure.
That sounds like a bit of a challenge, working with multiple producers on a record and getting a cohesive sound. You certainly accomplished that. Talk a little bit about putting it together.
Sure, absolutely. And it's not as difficult as it might seem, because it was 9 of the 10 songs were produced by the same people.
There it is.
Yes, it was. So 9 of the 10 were produced by Grant McFarland and Carson Slovak of Atrium Audio. The other track was produced by Howard Benson, Mike Plotnikoff and Company at West Valley Recording, and mastered by Ted Jensen. I won't go into detail about their credentials. You can certainly look those names up and check out all of the things that they've done. It's pretty amazing to say that they had a hand in this record as well, even though it may have been just one track. But yeah, it was the challenge was not necessarily the people that we were working with, but the multiple recording studios that we had to record at. So Junkie for You, Hey Mama was recorded. Credit to Kevin Sofera. We had previously recorded that in 2016. It's actually on a previous record. And he provided the original track files to Howard and team to be able to just, spruce up so we could add a little bit more guitar, redo vocals on that. So he had a hand in that as well, which is super awesome. The wonders of technology, Dropboxing files from Pennsylvania to California. It used to be not that simple. So we recorded that out in Los Angeles and here in Pennsylvania. And then when it came to the rest of the record, about a third of it was recorded at Think Loud Studios in York, Pennsylvania. That's a beautiful facility, which unfortunately, due to COVID, had to close its doors.
Wow.
Whether it's permanent or temporary, I am not privy to that information, but that caused a challenge and actually delayed production on the record quite significantly. So what was really cool, though, was we got a chance to record 2 of the tracks on the album at a studio that we had previously recorded at in 2012, 2013 at Seventh Wave Studios. So that was a full circle moment for us to be able to do that. And that was produced by Grant and Carson as well. But then, unfortunately, Seventh Wave Studio had to temporarily close its doors for because of a situation having to do with the zoning and a crazy neighbor. So God bless them for that situation. And yet again, we were without a studio. Our producers were without a studio, and they had to find another place to go. So they went to a studio that's close to where I reside, in Landisville, Pennsylvania, and that's where we recorded the rest of the record. So
Wow.
it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of places to go, but we got it done. We got it done. There's we faced the adversity and we persevered. So
yeah, the casual fan will not realize the differences in room sound going to different recording studios.
Right.
And just the basics of it are just so different.
Sure. There's definitely a different vibe to each song. But it is crazy how much technology has evolved, where you can get a cohesive sound from different elements all over the place. You know, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Major improvements for sure. And speaking of sound, you get a big sound out of the 3 of you, and that's quite a credit. I mean, the power trio format has been around for a long time, obviously, but
Yes.
exploring it and re-exploring it as a musician, and it opens doors to opportunity to play a little bit more and kind of broaden and feel. And then of course there's that your big voice to it as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We pride ourselves on being able to make as much noise as we possibly can. Try to make it as cohesive as possible without being, pitch perfect. We like a little bit of dirt in our rock and roll. We have a lot of fun. We've been experimenting with our sound ever since the beginning, and we kind of got into a groove with our album Reflection, and that was our first record that we recorded as a 3-piece. And we've been a 3-piece ever since 2014. We've been a 3-piece longer than we've been anything else, and it's been pretty awesome. It makes things logistically much easier as far as making decisions. And as Johnny says, the number 3 follows him around, and it's considered a lucky number among us. That and 24. So yeah, it's a fun time. It's a fun time.
Your songs lyrically draw inspiration from a lot of different ideas, social media, just day to day. Talk a little bit about finding that inspiration and finding things that just speak to you.
Sure. I would say that I am a lover of books, both read and listened to, and I gain a lot of insight as far as philosophy is concerned. Like there is certain self-help books, none of the woo-woo stuff. I'm not, some of that stuff is good, but it's, like I like everything across the spectrum, from Marcus Aurelius to Jordan Peterson, even Carl Jung, a lot of good stuff. David Goggins, Jocko Willink, reading about all those guys, about perseverance, about self-responsibility, about extreme ownership and determination, and, loving thy neighbor and all that good stuff. It's all embedded within the lyrics that I contribute to the band. However, it is a very collaborative process when it comes to the lyrics. For example, Johnny contributed a lot of the lyrical content to Rufflin' Feathers, for example. A lot of the content in the verses, verse 1, verse 2, the bridge, that was something that he wrote based off of the lyrics of the chorus, which I had contributed initially, and he built off of that. So there are plenty of examples of that throughout what we do as a band, and it has only become more collaborative. And it's something that we pride ourselves on, knowing that we split everything evenly 3 ways. There are bands out there where the lead singer or the songwriter of the song gets the writing royalties and they split it different ways, but that's just something that we don't not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just something that we refuse to do, simply for simplicity's sake, and also for fairness sake. Whatever you contribute to the band, even if you wrote 90 if not 100% of the song, it now belongs to the 3 of us and everybody that's involved. So
I'm so happy to hear that. Music can be so complicated, and sometimes it causes frictions inside the band. And
I've read too many horror stories about one guy taking most of the pie and leaving everybody else hanging out to dry, and it just causes this nightmare scenario of suing your best friends over bullshit. So
your former best friends, as it turns out. Yeah.
Exactly. Former best friends in some cases, or a situation where like you hate the person that you're on stage with, but you have to fake a smile. I can barely do that. I can't picture myself being in a project where I don't have a personal familial relationship with the people that I'm up on stage with. Now, of course, like family, everybody fights, but
of course,
we don't fight about the big stuff. We always come to the table about the big stuff, and I find that we're very lucky when it comes to that. So,
well, there's certainly one of the things that rings true for your band, in my opinion, is that there's an honesty there that you can find it in music, you can find it in the lyrics. It surrounds you, and that is obviously something that attracts a fan. They hear that and it resonates with them immediately. And it's not something that's tangible. It's not something you can say, I need this piece of honesty over here, now let's put it in. It doesn't happen. It's just natural. And then so it's great when you can find that in a band.
Well, thank you. I sincerely appreciate that. We do like to add a few bells and whistles here and there, but we never want to use it to cover up anything.
Right.
We want to we want to be able to produce the same sound, if not a more compelling sound live than we do on the records. Now we've set the bar insanely high for this record, I believe, because it's practicing to play these live for like our live streams coming up. It's the most difficult material that we've ever written and recorded, and I'm going to be hard pressed to recreate it live. It's going to be rough, but yeah, we're excited for the challenge. We always like pushing the envelope and bringing a good show to the fans.
We'll talk a little bit about that, contrasting this record with the last, and talk a little bit about the growth. And
sure. We started out with a pretty heavy sound. With kind of a southern rock edge, I would say. That's how some people would describe it. And then we went a little bit more on the metal side with our first full length album, with country elements in there even.
Yes.
I would say so. And those were fun experiences to have. We did crowdfunding campaigns for both of those, and had quite a bit of success with a small little army of fans at the time. But that was when we were a 5-piece and a 4-piece. So, come 2016, we wanted to make a record that showcased who we were as a band, as a 3-piece. And Reflection really, that's when things started to really glue together with, finding our identity as a band, finding our true sound. There's a lot of songs off of that record that I'm really proud of. And I'm really just proud of us as a band from that album Reflection, because it was a growth spurt for us as a band, for sure. So, but then, we've really released a bunch of EPs. The Hybrid Sessions EP was probably the one that was the catalyst for where we are now, because we decided to cover You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, and put it on that record. And so that was also an amazing milestone for us as a band, of course. It's what brought us to the dance, as Johnny likes to say. And so we were super excited with that. And then we've just been releasing singles and EPs on a consistent basis ever since we released that EP, and it's been a lot of fun. But now we've come to this point where we've released a record. We have an awesome record label behind it, Anti-Fragile, and we're just excited for the future. It's been amazing to see the growth of this album. It's been amazing to see what it's been doing this season, and we just hope that it reaches as many people as possible and it does as much good as it possibly can.
One of the cool things about music is that it has a level of unpredictability to it.
Sure.
And although I'm absolutely certain that that first night that you guys got together and sat down, someone said, "Hey, I got an idea. In a couple years, we're going to do Grinch, and it's going to go crazy, and we'll become something." And
you know, it's so funny. The way that we started as a band, it was just a jam session that Johnny, the drummer, wanted to put together, and Ben was there, and I was there, and there was another guy there at the time, and it was a really interesting vibe. And I was just about to graduate college, and I didn't necessarily know what to do. When people asked me what I was going to do after college,
yeah.
I had one word for them, 3 syllables: adventure. See where that took me.
That's a good answer.
You know, yeah, and it ended up getting a full-time job like right out of college. It was awesome. I worked there for 15 months, but it was burning both ends of the candle, doing like solo artist things, like, you know, acoustic guitar and harmonica, and just going out and doing my own thing while also, you know, growing this fledgling band that, you know, just became a thing that I honestly, I don't know if I speak on behalf of the rest of the band when I say this, but I had no idea what the hell I was doing, you know, doing this and then the solo thing and then the full-time job. And I did an internship for my cousin. I was just like, you know, spread so damn thin. And I feel bad for my cousin because I wasn't the best intern at the time because I had so many other focuses. So I'll never live that down. But it was quite a time to learn a lot about myself and what I was capable of. And it was cool to see, you know, when you look back at those times, hindsight is always 20/20. You know, you might be just like super tired from getting only 2 to 3 hours of sleep the night before, and, you know, having to wake up for work hungover and on a weekday because you spent too much time having a good time with the boys and practice the night before. And it's fun to look back and see how far you've come. It's yeah, for sure.
And it is an adventure.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Speaking of the adventure, let's talk about the future. 21, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Who knows, man? Who knows? Nobody knows. Nobody knows, you know. It's
you got to have some plan.
Well, the plan is to keep pushing this record like crazy. Hope to God that at some point we'll get some an opportunity to play live. You know, obviously COVID-19 has thrown a wrench into so many plans. Here in Pennsylvania, we're seeing a massive surge of the virus. Which is just one of those, it's a rough situation. There's a lot of things that are going on, you know, that are keeping us from being able to hit a stage in a safe manner. So hopefully with the considering the turnaround and the effectiveness of these vaccines that are coming out, it will create an environment for us to be able to do what we did before, but even bigger this time. Because I know that there's a lot of people out there who are listening to our records who want to see us live. I know that there's been friends of mine, and like, you know, also I do you know, shows on the side with my wife as Lucille and the Wolf, and we did a lot of stuff this summer. But like, you know, things this winter have been just rough because we had things scheduled, and now, you know, we're seeing cancellations left and right because of everything. So, pending all of this crazy stuff, we're just hoping for a 2021 with live shows and seeing people and actually getting a chance to hug everybody and, you know, have a damn good time. We'll see what happens. Let's hope for the best.
And we all are hoping for that best and for a brighter future. It's been tragic. It's been difficult. And
it has.
I'd like to see the door close.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, the human race has been through a lot of BS, and you know, it's hard to forget. You know, I'm sorry. Rather, it's easy to forget how much the human race has been through. You know, but all you got to do is open up a history book and even read history that is, you know, somewhat recent to realize that we've had political crises, and other countries have had the same thing, and there's been war and famine, all this horrible stuff that's happened around the world. However, yet we keep pushing on. So I do sincerely believe that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just going to take a little bit. It's going to get worse before it gets better, and but it's going to get better. I have full confidence that it will.
We are humans being human.
Yep. For better or for worse.
Well, that's all I got today. Is there anything I missed? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Dave, we're good to go, man. I appreciate the time. I just tell your viewers and everybody who's watching to go to smalltowntitans.com. Get yourself, we've got a t-shirt that's for sale right now that's Christmas themed, along with a free mask for anybody who's going out in public, in you know, the grocery store, and you want to, you know, protect yourself and other people in style. You got that going on. And then go to smalltowntitans.com and grab our record. That simple. So. That's
all of it. Well, thanks for sharing some time with us today, Phil. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Take care. You too. Bye.
Seen someone